Hey guys, I'm back. I'm playing another 5-minute game against a frequent opponent. I think this is the third time I played this guy on video. So this time I started with knight f3 on move 1. We have a symmetrical English. I'll go g3 against that. Okay, I'll play d4 here. I've also played rook e1 in the past. That's a good move too. Now queen takes. d6 is the correct move for black now. I will play bishop g5. I call this the buzzkill variation. So the idea is to take on f6 and then play queen f4. And white will just put pressure on the d6 pawn, more or less. There's not much else to it. I think... yeah, rook f d1. And after bishop e7, knight e4, he has to part with his light square bishop, is the issue. And he plays rook a7. I believe I play b3 now. Or is it knight d4 first? I think it's knight d4. Let's do that. And now I play rook d2. Because rook takes c4 is not actually a threat due to knight takes e6. Yeah. I think there's a game, Carlsen versus Gashimov, in this line from a couple years ago. I remember annotating that game, actually. Okay, so he goes queen c8. Makes sense. Okay, now I think I need to play b3. Yeah. White just has to be cautious for the pawn breaks. b5 and d5. I wonder if he has trouble developing his knight now. Just due to the fact that if knight d7, knight c6 is on the table. So he's making way for the bishop to come to f8 with that move. Okay, I'm just going to double. And if he goes knight d7, I remember one plan for white is to go a4 and put the queen back on b1. And then put the queen on a2 eventually, surprisingly enough. Yeah, let's do a4. And after that maneuver, so queen to b1, the plan is to go queen a2 and try to arrange b4 eventually. I may need to put a rook on the c file to do that. Because if I can go b4, b5, and then stick something on c6, that significantly improves my position. Okay, let's proceed as planned. Now what, in rook c2? Yeah, let's do it. This guy seems to know what he's doing. The only thing now is I wonder if d5 is an option for him soon. I can bring this rook over, but d5... no, that's not a big deal. Let's just do this. I would actually expect knight e5 now. Although knight e5 f4 needs to be contemplated. You can come into g4. Let's go h3 first. Prophylactic move. Make sure you can't come into g4. I don't want to have to think about that. This line is very much based on restriction for white. Just trying to limit the possibilities that black has at his disposal. Okay, so he is retreating. So b4 is on the table for me now. Should I want it? I think I do. Yeah, I'm just going to play b4, b5. I'll take with the a pawn too. You can go rook a7, but I don't mind giving up the file for now. It's fine if it comes to that. Because now if I can get f4 followed by knight c6 in, he's going to have some coordination issues, for sure. So f4, knight c6, he can play queen c7 again. Okay, let's not do that yet. Let's just go here. And maybe introduce like rook a2 as a possibility. Because ideally, I think when I play knight c6 eventually, I'll be able to play a quick rook a2, rook a7, and attack his queen that will end up on c7. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so he goes there voluntarily. Ah, okay. Yeah, now I have more concrete problems on this square. So maybe I should have played f4 on the last move. Still, though. Yeah, I should have played f4 on the previous move. Maybe bishop c6 now? Let's do that. He can sacrifice an exchange. Because me having a minor piece on c6, whether it's the bishop or the knight, is extremely annoying for him. So my plan now is to play f4, and if he withdraws knight somewhere, move the bishop back and try to get knight c6 going again. Will he sack the exchange? I bet he will. Yep, he does. Okay, let's try to hammer the b6 pawn. Try to get him to play queen c7 now. Wow, so he's just open to the trade. What if I play this? Then he has queen e4. Okay, let's try to get him to trade on my terms. He's not cooperating. Okay, let's take. Let's go back here. Should probably take with a rook, yep. I like the fact that I can attack f7 now. If it becomes a time scramble, I'd rather have a target, clear target to attack. Let's go g4. Is this a problem for him? Yes, I think it is.
Time warning.
So now I can go g5. And if he moves the rook, he's getting mated. Yeah, he resigned. Okay, nice ending. So, I don't think I'll go into too much depth in this line, just because this is a complicated variation. But I think I described White's plan in general. So we voluntarily give up the bishop for the knight on f6. It seems weird to do this, like expend 2 tempos just to give a bishop for a knight. because you don't often see like advanced players giving up bishops for knights voluntarily. But the idea is that black just has a lot of trouble defending d6. And black has but spent so many pawn moves in the opening that white can get away with this and still be ahead in development. And the subsequent pressure on d6, just obliges him to give back one of the bishops anyways. So he takes here. Now I've got knight and bishop versus knight and bishop. But I believe the consensus in this type of position is that the knight and the light square bishop work a little bit better than black's knight and dark square bishop. Mainly due to that c6 square weakness. That's a constant thorn in black's side. Yeah, and if you guys are really interested in this game, in this variation, look up Carlsen versus Gashimov. 2012, I want to say, but I'm not positive. Could be 2011. So queen c8, and then b3. I don't recall much after this. I just remember Carlsen went rook d2, and I remember thinking to myself when I saw that game, like, why wasn't rook takes c4 possible? But the answer is knight takes e6, with the discovered attack here, attacking the queen. And if takes and take here, I don't think black can like hope to trap white's knight. Like say, I don't know, rook here, just knight b7, and this pawn is a goner. Yeah, white's doing well. So he defended with queen c8. I went b3, doubled rooks. And as I described, this whole convoluted maneuver like queen b1 to a2 and then rook c2 and b4 is a way to eventually try to get control over c6. This is an idea of Ulf Andersson's, actually. Like this whole variation, bishop g5 and take on f6, is called the Andersson variation, the famous Swedish grandmaster. And this was his invention, this queen a2, rook c2, and b4 plan. Actually, I believe Carlsen like references Ulf Andersson when he was describing that game against Gashimov. Somehow, though, I didn't get the b4 push in as quickly as I thought I would. This position seems kind of critical, because he's doing everything he can to hold up the possibility of b4. So I played h3. Just to rule out knight g4, because I was a little worried that if I go here, he goes here, and then I go here, that maybe he could do... I was thinking of some weird stuff, like... Is knight e3 now out of the question? Probably is. This probably isn't good for him. Take here, take with the knight. Yeah, but maybe a rook move like rook h5. Even this, like bishop f3 looks good. Because I wasn't happy about playing h3. I just played it on instinct to take away the g4 square. But let's see what the engine says. Engine says I should go f4 immediately. It's not afraid of knight g4. Yeah, b4. Okay, I just dismissed this based on the weakness of e3. But I should have been more open to that line. So h3 was played. He went back here. I played b4, as planned. Then b5, so nail him to the c6 square. Took with the a pawn. And maybe now I should have played f4. Yep, another case where I should have gone f4. And then sink the knight into c6 immediately thereafter. I hesitated for a move, trying to get it perfect before I did that. Queen c7. I played bishop c6, this interesting move. Computer doesn't like it as much as knight c6, but I wanted to avoid an opposite color bishop position if possible. And due to how cramped he is, and how misplaced this rook could end up being, I think his decision to sack the exchange is perfectly fine. I mean, I actually wasn't really surprised by that decision. Computer hates it, though. It suggests he just, like, do something like that. I mean, when he does sack on c6, he's kind of just playing for two results, right? Like either a loss or a draw. In chess lingo, playing for two results is when you're either playing for a win with a draw in hand, or the maximum you can get is a draw, like you'll never win. So, I don't know, maybe this is a technical win for white. I took there. Why didn't I take on b6? Oh well, this is okay too. Let's say he plays rook c7, because I think that's what he should do. I guess the big question is, like, if the rooks come off the board, like, let's say a pair of rooks is exchanged, is this a win for white? I don't know off the top of my head. These endings are tricky, because actually his pawn structure is ideal for defending. He has the pawns on the opposite color of his bishop. That's a good defensive structure. I mean, realistically, to win this, I would have to go and attack f7. That's a pretty simplistic way of explaining it, but if f7 is defended, like, how can white ever win? And that involves, like, really taking some risks with my king. I'd have to make sure my pawn structure's ordered in the best way. So if you're sitting here analyzing this game and the engine shows you like a, almost +2 evaluation, but you're looking at it and you're not really sure like how the win is going to happen, be skeptical, because these technical endings, the engines don't really, this is just a very surface level assessment. Even with a extreme depth looking ahead, the engine still doesn't know everything there is to know about this endgame. So I'm honestly not sure. I mean, I kind of think white should win this ending, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if black can draw with like perfect play. There are a lot of pawns on. If it was like a 3 versus a 4, like let's say we get rid of these 2 pawns for each side, then I think black has much better chances to draw. But with white having 1 extra pawn to work with, somehow that just seems more promising for him. So, as played though, he let me take the 7th rank. I feel that gives him a lot of headaches. Yeah, and he tried to go defend on f5. But, yeah, rook b8, now I'm threatening rook d8. Now went g4. Okay, so he has to play rook g5 now. And even though I can get this move in, he has to be willing to give up this pawn. That looks like very close to losing for him, though, because that pawn is just the linchpin of his position. So goes that f7 pawn. So could go his entire position. But, yeah, he did this in here. And I just spent a little bit of remaining time. I spent like a third of my time just making sure that I had calculated this correctly. So I was pretty sure there had to be a win here. I was just trying to figure out what order to do it in, like g5 first or rook dd8 first. Rook dd8 first is much better. Because if I play g5 first, then rook f5 and he's attacking that pawn with check. So I don't have time to like go here. Yeah, so rook dd8 moves his bishop out. Yep, and then g5. Take away the flight square for his king. And he resigned because, let's say if the rook moves, there's just this
Check.
easy checkmate.
Check. Checkmate.
A nice checkmate, too. And the pawn on g5 has a starring role. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Ratings on the climb, I like it. Knock on wood, right? I always got to do that so I don't drop a massive amount of rating points. But, all right. I'll probably record one more video for today. I think it'll be a 3-minute video. So, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please leave me any feedback in the comments. Thanks, guys.